Hey, this is Pamela Riemenschneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review. Greg, have you had a cucumber today?
I I haven't thought about a lot cucumbers a whole lot this week, but I haven't talked to CNN either.
I did, and I did because
Why?
everyone knows that I'm chronically online, and a lot of that time is spent on TikTok. And I have noticed in the last couple of weeks, cucumbers are really trendy on TikTok. There is a creator, his name is Logan, and he actually, for me, clued me into kimchi because he makes a lot of kimchi. And that was one of my food trends from last year, I believe, is Korean flavors. And part of it was because I keep seeing this guy make kimchi on TikTok. But now he started doing this thing where he's making a cucumber every day. And CNN reached out to me to see if there has been a noticeable impact on cucumber sales. And unfortunately, in the time frame that they were asking for, we haven't gotten a lot of the sales numbers yet through July. And then it's really hard to explain to mainstream reporters that year over year sales in produce can be influenced by a lot of things. And week over week this summer, in cucumbers particularly, if you can recall what was going on with the cucumber market back in May and June, there was a salmonella outbreak. So that makes it even harder to track. But just to see that there's been a boost in demand and that everyone is buzzing about cucumbers in the foodie world. It's not necessarily everyone in the world talking about cucumbers, but it's got to make some growers pretty happy.
Oh, sure. Anytime you get a trendy blonde, bleach blonde dude talking about your product, I mean, why not?
Why
Of
not?
course,
And I
CNN got a little confused on cucumber season, though.
Yeah, and I did point out to this reporter that most of the videos feature this guy with a seedless cucumber, which those of us in the produce business know is grown under protected agriculture or even, greenhouse. It is one of the truly seasonless items, if there ever is one, because almost 12 months of the year, I mean, every time I've ever been to a greenhouse growing area, cucumbers are growing in the greenhouses, even like the dead of winter. So I mean, if we're talking even field grown cucumbers, you never see a time of year that they're not in the grocery store and that they're not plentiful. So it did mention cucumber season, and it it's not really a thing unless you're growing pickling cucumbers in your garden. But
We're
that's
making baby steps here.
baby steps. And you know what? That's a good thing for people who are like, hey, I want to have a cucumber every day. You know what? My kids have been on that train since they were teeny tiny, because if you go down to my kitchen right now in the crisper drawer, you will find many, many cucumbers because my kids do eat a cucumber a day.
Well, that's healthy. So we'll take it away from the truly unique, you talking to CNN with the most ongoing interesting story we've covered in a couple years, and that's the latest in Kroger and Albertsons.
I mean, it's as the world turns. What's going on with Kroger and Albertsons this week? And actually, there was a call today with IFPA talking about the upcoming Global Fresh Produce and Floral Show. Rodney McMullen is one of the planned speakers, and I wonder if he'll address any of this merger speculation. But right now, Kroger's firing back. Kroger's not taking it.
Oh yeah, we got the lawyers involved this week, and so they started off by getting four state attorneys general to send briefs, I guess, to the judge in district court in Oregon that had ruled in um, toward the FTC in their antitrust lawsuit, and so they filed these. You can obviously one of them was Ohio, since that's where Kroger's based, and then I I don't know the other three off the top of my head, but so they started that, and then later in the week, Kroger filed their own motion against the FTC. It is. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to get too try to get too deep into the lawsuit angle on it, but basically they're taking on the FTC, saying that they're out of their jurisdiction. A couple of charges that they're violating articles of the Constitution. So I think that's an interesting next step.
Yeah, they are also arguing against the FTC trying to split the merger into separate tribunals and all of this stuff. And my in-house attorney who sits over there is actually on break right now, so I couldn't ask him for his opinion if he even had one, which he does not on that kind of stuff. But I just yeah, the it seems like this is the week of Kroger saying no, 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 this is how it's going to work. And they want to know what's the holdup and why is there a holdup, and try to push back against that stuff. Of course, they also have the what was going on in Colorado with they wanted to have a hearing about that and they were trying to delay the hearing. We'll link out to all of that stuff so you can keep updated on the latest, but just know that the world is spinning and it's still ongoing and we have no resolution. So that's the
No,
update for
I
Kroger.
think one of the most interesting angles is the attorneys general pointed out that that they strongly disagree with FTC's narrow definition of supermarkets, because the FTC just excludes grocery retailers like Costco, Aldi, Whole Foods, and online grocers. And that's an angle that we have talked about a lot that is definitely in favor of Kroger and Albertsons, because the FTC is saying the grocery space is very narrow and it's a monopolistic move. And we have agreed with them, saying they have lots of competitors outside of the narrow supermarket. They absolutely compete Aldi, Walmart, Costco, much less even the ancillary ones. This doesn't even bring up the Dollar Generals, and it does, it mentions online sellers, but of course they have to compete with online sellers. So I think this is a point in their favor.
And just while you were talking, I decided to quickly Google how many Aldi stores there are in the US. And I think the number might surprise people because way back in the day, Aldi was saying we're going to have 1,200 stores I can't even remember when it was. I feel like it was like 2023 or something like that. As of March 2024, Aldi had 2,356 stores. And by 2028, they are planning to have 3,200 stores. That's almost Walmart numbers. Walmart's got what? Actually, that's more. Walmart's 3,400, I think. Kroger and Albertsons together, how many stores would that be? Okay, together, Kroger and Albertsons have nearly 5,000 stores. But it's all kinds of independent banners. They're not independents, obviously not. But they do have independent buying offices. The buyer for Harris Teeter is different than the buyer for Ralph's in Krogerland, but they do share information and they share pricing information, and they are connected in some ways. But they'll have to divest, what was it, 600 stores or something like that. So Kroger and Albertsons together would by far be the biggest. But we've got Walmart, we've got Aldi with 3,200 stores, got Dollar General with 20,000 stores, and 10,000 of those are going to have fresh produce. There are grocery options in the US besides Kroger and Albertsons. I can see where people oppose the merger, but I can also see where, we're looking at quite a different, especially when you look at the map of where they are. The ones that they're divesting are in the markets where they were most saturated, especially out there on the West Coast.
Right. Well, we can't go a whole lot further without talking about this new retail concept that I'm fascinated by.
Yes.
It is, as an Aldi shopper, it is like it's lower than I think I'm ready for. It is
Right.
Loblaws new pilot concept, which is no name, and the branding is just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, the Loblaws No Name brand is in their stores. And if you, like I, grew up in Associated Wholesale Grocers territory in AWG land, you grew up with the bright yellow always save box of cornflakes or Raisin Bran or whatever. The yellowness of those stores almost makes me queasy in those aisles, but that's the No Name color as well. And so Loblaws already has a No Frills banner. This is even fewer frills. It's a new concept that they're coming up with. They're trying to help customers save 20% on everyday grocery and household items. They have shorter operating hours, a smaller assortment, limited marketing and no flyers, no refrigeration, so no dairy or fresh meats, reused fixtures, including shelves and checkouts. Yeah, I mean, that's efficient if as long as they
Uh,
work.
it's
Um,
recyclable.
Fewer weekly deliveries, so that's lower logistics costs, but they do plan to carry fresh produce. They said customers can expect a small range of frozen food items complemented by pantry staples, sorry, household necessities, shelf-stable bakery, delicious, produce items including bread, bagels, apples, bananas, peppers, carrots, I bet potatoes.
You would have
Um,
to think potatoes,
One
yeah.
of the first stores is supposed to be in Windsor, and I will note that in Canada, most greenhouse bell peppers and cucumbers are not refrigerated, so it would make sense logistically to carry that kind of stuff. But I'm thrifty, but I don't know if I'm that thrifty.
Yeah. For people who thought no frills had too many frills.
Yeah, like you can buy, but I really just wonder, and I want somebody, one of my Leamington friends, I need you to go check this store for me, or whoever's going to go to Leamington anytime soon, and if you're passing through Detroit on your way, I need to know. I need to know what this store looks like, and I need to know how many produce items. But I also just really wonder the strategy of not offering um eggs and milk. Um, you can get away with not having meat, I guess, but even just like milk and eggs are some of the like poor foods for even, I mean, I grew up poor in the Ozarks, and anytime the snow was coming, it was bread, eggs, and milk. Those are the three things that you had to have in your house. French toast forecast. And to not offer just just that key essential is making their customers make a second trip somewhere else.
Well, we talked about the latest Circana report that talked about how much inflation is affecting American shoppers. And one of the things that came out of that was a rise in trips per week because consumers are cherry picking which places have which items for less at certain times, and they've just gotten used to making more trips. So in Canada, the inflation is even higher when it comes to food. And so that could be, I mean, we didn't have the data on that, but this would certainly play into that, making multiple trips. And it seems like a great store to stock up on the things that you know that they carry, especially generics that you don't care about brand names. You can get it cheaper. And you're already going to multiple stores. We're not in an era of one-stop shopping right now.
Yeah, I know, but it just seems like why would you even carry produce if you're gonna do this? I want produce everywhere, but you're
Because it's
going,
cheaper. They can do
it's
it cheaper, hopefully.
is it gonna be like, weirdo carrots and stuff like that too? I mean, the No Name brand, I will pull a photo of this. I saw it when I was at the City Market concept in Vancouver, and you could see like really scuffed up, scabby looking avocados in the No Name brand. And we all know that what's on the inside of the avocado is just fine, even when it has like cosmetic yuck on the outside. Sometimes avocados look really weird, but they're totally fine on the inside. And most of the time, any kind of produce item that looks less cosmetically appealing is just fine on the inside. So they already had this well-established no-name brand for certain produce items. So I could see that stuff going there, but I want to go. I want to see what it looks like. Yeah, so somebody's gonna have to be the hookup for us on that one.
I could see someone going in for super cheap stuff. Once upon a time, back before I owned a house, there was a bread store that was right next to my apartment. And I
You
used
know,
to
my
get
grandparents went there.
quarter loaves of bread. It was an extra stop, but it was like practically free.
You know what, my grandparents and my moms, they all live near you in Kansas City. They used to go to the bread store and they'd be like, gonna go to the bread store, what do you want? And they would come back with like, loaves of stuff you never see at the regular store and those little powdered donuts and things like
Oh
that.
yeah.
So
That stuff
yeah,
was dirt cheap. Now I can't eat that stuff anymore. But when I was in my 20s, I
right.
could do it. And it wouldn't go straight to some place that looks awful on my body.
Right. Yeah, you're reminding me that yes, and I would consider most of my family to be not only thrifty but extremely cheap. So yes, they will make a stop at the bread store. Meanwhile, I live close enough to Costco to buy most of my groceries there. So yeah. And when I don't get at Costco, I get at HEB because there's no Aldi within 20 minutes of my house. But I do make an effort to go there every once in a while just to remember what it's like to have like super cheap groceries.
Now, remember, not everything is super cheap there. They have high-end stuff as well.
I know that's what I usually end up buying is the fancy meats and cheeses.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's a perfect fit for me because some of the generics I just don't care about, but I really do like nice produce, meat, and cheese.
There you go. All right. Well, that's it for the Produce Reporter Week in Review. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up.